He founded a business consulting company focused on aligning strategy with execution and held positions such as Director of Operations at Artis, CEO and Chair of MediConnect.net, and board member for 3 humanitarian organizations. Prior to his leadership roles at MediaConnect.net, he served as Vice President of Product Management and Corporate Officer at Veritas Software, as well as Vice President for Product Management and Business Alliances at Seagate Software, Network and Storage Management Group. He also held positions in strategic business development at Chain Software and various management roles at Nobel. He holds an MBA and a BS, Bachelor of Science in Information Management from the Brigham Young University in Utah. Dear friends, he traveled over 37 hours to be with us today. Please welcome our Senior Vice President at Family Search International, Mr. Michael Colmier.
Thank you. I had a few problems getting here yesterday, so I decided to fly in at 5:30 this morning. First of all, I want to congratulate the Philippines on Carlos, your gymnast. In the Colmier family, we love to watch the Olympics, and we were cheering for him the whole time. He's awesome. So I wanted to congratulate you on that. And happy National Indigenous Peoples Day and International Day of the World's Indigenous People. I think it's wonderful. There couldn't be a greater opportunity for me to get to speak than on this day. I have dear love for Indigenous people in all areas of the world. And thank you for your kind hospitality. I love coming to the Philippines, and thank you for all that you do. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit today. We're going to spend a little time talking about family search and talking about the opportunity that we have in the Philippines to help your indigenous people. And really it helps all indigenous people around the world, the example that you're providing. Great work. So Family Search is a worldwide organization focused on helping people all around the world connect with their ancestors and their past. Our sole purpose is to preserve humankind's historical records and give everyone the opportunity to discover, gather, and connect with their family, past, present, and future. As much as we love what we do, and as much as we love helping people make these life-changing connections, we know we can't do it alone. This is why we partner with governments, organizations, and institutions so that we can help gather records and ensure content is accessible according to information privacy laws locally, wherever the content and records are available, and put them in a format that can be preserved and shared for generations to come. Now let me tell you a little bit about Family Search. We were actually organized back in 1894, and at that time we were called the Genealogy Society of Utah. From the very beginning, the goal has been to give people access to their records about their families and bring this key information to help people find families and connect to their past. In our early days, we started working with archives and governments and institutions, started with the United States, then into Europe, and now have gone worldwide. Currently, we work in over 194 countries around the world in helping this project. Let me give you a brief review of some of the things that we've done over our history. In 1938, the Genealogical Society of Utah pioneered the use of microfilm technology. Then, interestingly enough, in 1973, here in the Philippines, we worked to put all the genealogical records on microfilm right here in this country back in 1973. And at that time, microfilm was a miracle. It was easy to transport and easy to move, or so we thought. until 1998 when the digital world came about and we started using digital cameras. And then it became even easier, thank heavens. If you've ever had to use microfilm, you would understand why. Today we have approximately 500 cameras operating throughout the world, showing digital images of records in various libraries and archives. In fact, we currently have 60 cameras in the Ukraine, helping to ensure we capture that country's history in this very difficult time and under very difficult circumstances. In 2004, Family Search began a small effort to understand how to record oral family histories. We started to see a real need out there. Family Search's oral genealogy initiative is focused on preserving the genealogies of indigenous peoples throughout the world. We define oral genealogy, or a lot of people like to call it oral histories, to include preserving the lineage, language, culture, identity, and history of individuals, of families, tribes, and entire people in nations all over the world. By 2016, it became clear that there were areas of the world that demanded more of our attention to do oral genealogies. We quickly recognized that in the continent of Africa, oral genealogy was being lost as their elders of the tribes were dying, and memories and information were no longer available. Today, Family Search funds over 5,000 African contract interviewers in 20 countries in Africa. As of the end of 2023, we had finished and completed 2 million interviews. In doing these interviews, we were able to collect over 700 different language and dialects during those 2 million interviews. And currently, we've been able to post over 260 million names found in oral genealogies just in Africa. So I'd like to share with you now a brief video that highlights how Family Search's oral genealogy efforts is making an impact in Africa.
For centuries, African people, they were attached or tied to oral traditions. When we talk about the oral tradition, it means from the mouth to the ear. I was born in a village. And as we were growing, after the day's work, we sat around a fire, and our parents told us the history of our village and our ancestors. But then, as I grew up, I saw that that thing was not there, because now almost all the young ones are migrating to the city. So that brings us to another we say, the old men in the village are dying, and the young men are not there to listen. We have another problem. As an old man dies, it's as if a library burns down. We don't want that happening. So the more you do oral genealogy now on tape for us to get information from them before the person passes away. As we hired these boys to go to the field, they visited a 95-year-old man to interview him, and they collected as much information as we could. And we gave them that copy of the information that we collected. And they have given copies to everybody in the family that they thought needed it. There are millions of people that have lived in Africa that have nothing to show that they ever live on this planet. Anything that we can do to get those people somehow, some way, in a particular record to show that they existed must be done. And it must be done now.
There have been a lot of chieftaincy disputes in the country. If you go to the court, there are chieftaincy problems over there. It's all because there's no properly documented heritage system. So to me, family search is in the right direction to document or to assist the communities to reconstruct their past. Then this problem wouldn't come. So it's very important.
You know, I why about back because I said, when you go back now, you want to say, the first person or the best person who did the great. The one of my money now said, in an annual, a different two, Saban, a bit their Kumitan. When the first person of Baha. I wrote as one Mamma bring them say, go down and you get a more fun who please Sabana or not an idea. If you know that, we give it now, we give them up, and not a man, give them up. I think of Kwamba. They will go to here, although in the airport, we will not have it. We are now moving to one. No, I have by Jana or Wana or Shuru for Jana. Now, no, the beginning. That's why we are doing this work, and these people still alive, so we can preserve what they have. So we can think them, and then future generations can use it.
Because I'm related to the person. Oral genealogy is coming to really help that. That's what I see.
You are the young baby, I don't buy it, and she might want to buy it. The man I know, you can buy it, and you and the one, Papa for the now, so I'm saying that, saying, I'm better now, and you. There's a number, and who said, in another number, you can buy it. I dare you to her, and she might want to be a guest, you will be able to know. That's not who you want.
It's amazing thing. Thank you. It's an amazing opportunity to go and actually visit with the people and see this work to be done. And this is the opportunity here in this country now. Let me shift for a second. I want to talk about the Philippines. Family Search has been working in the Philippines for 50 years in gathering and preserving records. It's amazing. We found that the Philippines has a diaspora of over 12 million people. Now think about this. At this moment, 12 million Filipinos live somewhere other than the Philippines. It is one of the largest diasporas per capita in the world, one that spans over 100 countries and represents 12% of your country's population. We want to help the Filipino people in the Philippines and around the world to discover their family history and their cultural history. Now, I have one more video with you that highlights what Family Search has done to help preserve these records over the half century.
Records are very important tools to picture the past and the present. And without records, there will be no way that we know who we are and why.
All records tell a story. And unfortunately, if you're not rich, if you're not popular, if you're not a politician, no one would really bother to keep information about you.
In the Philippines, before you go to first grade, you have to have a birth certificate. That's one. When you go to high school, college, and when you went these are all the papers required for your birth certificate and your wedding.
What Family Search is doing, Family Search has been doing for many years, is something that I really appreciate and I can really relate to, because as a genealogist over the years I have realized that it is our duty as the descendants of people who have been dead many years, centuries even, to speak for them. That make up our identity as human beings and more are unfortunately left behind because look, they're not, popular. They're not Wikipedia type people.
Back in 1965-67, within those 2 years, I met Mel Thatcher. Took me to the mountain in Utah and to where the microfilms kept to explain to me what they were doing and why we were to microfilm the records of it.
We had a contractor, Fluoro Photo, which was excellent. The Fluoro was excellent contractors for us, and they believed in the work that we were doing. It's important.
And the microfilm is either church records or civil records and other records that are.
I'm very thankful because it's been more than 20 years since that time, and I continue to be helpers that the Family Search has preserved.
So the Philippines is of a lot of interest because they believed in the work that we were doing. It's important and critical for the future.
Before Yolanda, there was a place in Eastern Samar. I went there to negotiate the filming of the records, the municipal records. We placed the camera and do the microfilming. When Yolanda happened, the entire municipal building was washed away. After 2 weeks, I went back with a digital copy of the municipal record. And then I asked her, what happened to your records? And she said, can you see? We don't have office, we don't have even a building. So I said, ma'am, I have your record. So I showed her 1 terabyte of records and a digital format. Is it true? So I said, of course. That's the purpose of preservation of records.
The record keepers in the Philippines understood the risks that records are at, from typhoons, fire, and local disturbances, and so on.
I hope the government will see that, there's really nothing wrong with making records from the 1800s and even, 100 years to the public.
And in the next 50 years, I hope what we can do first and foremost is organize the stakeholders of genealogy in the country and find a voice so that we can advocate for what would be relevant to family history research. Again, without the preserved records which Family Search did, I would not have known how my ancestors played very important roles. We found out that most of our ancestors came from Bataan, and my grandfather was actually a guerrilla. And within this blood was the blood of the hero here in Bataan.
So I think it's very important to learn who you are, where you're from, what your grandparents, others have done in the past. So I think it helps identify who you are and makes it real, just all the hardships they went through, etc. And I continue to grow as a human being, as a part of the human race because of my love for genealogy.
Something that a family would like to hold or like to discover is their own family tree. For the beginners, they thought maybe it's difficult, it's hard, it could be a struggle, of course, when there is no available records. But for those who have records, the system is very friendly, it's very easy to use, even in your comfort of your homes.
Let's have the records of our life. Let's have the records of our family. Let's preserve the records. Whatever you have the records, let's preserve it.
This work needs to be done as quickly as possible. It needs to be given ample attention by all the stakeholders, because genealogical records are important to link ourselves with those that have the following generations that will come us.
Electronic preservation is one of the best preservation, but we need to be in a hurry doing it.
I did use it and I did know that it's easy.
Generations will eventually need all the copies that we're digitizing right now, and also need that as their reference on what happened during the past.
We will not be who we are today if not for those who came before us. And the only way for us to honor them is to find out who they were, how they lived, and what they have given us today.
All of these databases, all of these things actually can uncover so much about our past, so much about our families, and so much about our history as a people.
And I hope that the people will benefit from the work that we've done. I know just that the records are in a safe place.
I hope to be able to see that government and the Catholic Church and the other churches in the Philippines work together to preserve these records for the generations to come.
When everybody will be doing this job, and we will be connected to each other, we'll be linked to each other. Actually, we are building one family, one big family.
I believe that branches of the future are rooted in the past. Without the past, there will be no future. That's why we need to know the past.
For the dead, because I want to make sure that everyone, not just the famous, popular people, that all may be remembered. We preserve records so that all may be remembered.
We preserve records so that all may be remembered. We preserve records so that all may be remembered.
We preserve so that all may be remembered.
We join together as we do this, so we'll become one. And we will be united and all will be remembered.